Welcome back, everyone, to the Residual Earners Podcast, episode 48. And today we have an awesome one with one of my best buddies here in Texas. But in the meantime, I'm Jordan.
I'm Presley.
And today I would like to introduce Mr. Ryan Franza. Welcome to the podcast, big guy.
Thank you.
Ryan is ecstatic about being here. Kind of a podcast extraordinaire, so we're happy to have him on. But what do we got going today, Presley?
Well, you know, he's a buddy of mine, too. You made it sound like I don't know him or something.
I know. That's my fault, but
One of our good buddies.
one of our good buddies.
One of our good buddies, Ryan Franza.
I mean, you did disappear and go to Canada, and so Presley and I are coffee buddies now. We
yeah.
just
it.
hang
so
out.
really, I should have said one of my good buddies. And
You could have done the intro, but you chose not to.
yeah, I guess I could have.
So,
Man, we're glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, we have fun doing this.
Yeah,
you know, we
Pretty excited about it.
just sit here and
Don't
talk.
know what to expect, but I'm excited about it.
Well, we're not going to ask you anything I don't think you already know the answer to. But hey, start off by telling everybody who Ryan Franza is.
About 36 years old. Got a wife, Brittany, 2 kids, Crew and Case, 2 boys. They are 7 and 4. We live out here in Heath, Texas. Been out this way pretty much my entire life. Oh, yeah, hometown. Went to Rockwall High School, graduated from there, Texas A&M, graduated from Texas A&M, started off my career in Houston, and then transferred up to the Dallas office. And so I've been in healthcare since 2011.
were you at A&M with the Dude Perfect guys?
I was.
Did you know them back then?
A little bit. Played some pickup basketball with them at the rec center. The twins, I knew them better than anyone else. Would run into them at a church there, but other than that, I mean, if they maybe now if they see me on this podcast, they wouldn't know who I am. But, no,
Well, they'll realize how famous you are now.
exactly. Yeah, but they're what they're doing is pretty incredible. I mean, it's neat.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But guys, today, I thought we'd kind of go over Ryan has become a, very successful in the insurance business, and now he's been able to do other things because of his success. And as you know, most of this podcast is helping people become more, helping people achieve success. So whenever we have somebody that's close to us that has, achieved such success, really worked very hard, diligently, to get where they are today, if we can pick their brain a little bit and get you a few nuggets, I think it helps everyone.
Yeah. Now, did you start with insurance?
I did. So pretty crazy how I fell into it. I was a telecommunications major with a minor in sports management at Texas A&M. I left my GPA on my resume for my freshman year, but when I graduated, I probably had about 2.3, 2.4. So there was a career fair at the business schools, the Mays Business School, and it was February of 2011, and it never snows or ices in College Station. And it was for only business majors career fair. I was a telecommunications major. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sneak into this thing and drop off my resume for my freshman year GPA and see what happens. And ended up going around, saw a table called Sun Life. Thought I was gonna interview with them for financial sales, mutual funds, annuities, and got all the way to Atlanta in an interview process. And they said, "Hey, you're gonna present on employee benefits." I was like, what is that? Like country club memberships, car allowances. What are we talking about here? And they're like, no, like health insurance, but specifically life and disability and some dental and vision. So I called my parents. I was like, hey, Mom, Dad, I think I made a mistake. I'm all the way out in Atlanta, and they're wanting me to do employee benefits. They're like, you didn't make a mistake. You need to get a job. So just kind of BS my way through the through the presentation. Ended up the funniest part of it all is I get back to the airport in Atlanta, and I'm in a monkey suit. I'm in a coat and tie and everything. I'm a college kid. I'm like, I got to put on some gym shorts and a T-shirt for this flight back home. So I go and I change, and then I see the main person that interviewed me on the same flight. And he comes up to me. He goes, "Well, you look a little bit more comfortable." I was like, "Yeah, I have. Thanks, Doug." And he goes, "Well, we really liked you. We'd like to. This probably isn't the most professional way of hiring you, but we'd like to hire you." I was like, "In a T-shirt and gym shorts. All right, let's go." So that's how it all started.
So this is my new outfit, man.
This is my new
T-shirt and gym
outfit,
shorts.
exactly. So that's how it all started, and then was on the carrier side with Sun Life in Houston. Started off there. I was in Houston for about 6 months. transferred up to the Dallas office, and then moved over to the broker side in September of 2012. So I've been health insurance broker for about 12 years now.
Do you remember anything from your original presentation?
Yeah, the manila folder that they gave me, and then literally studying it that night, knowing nothing about life insurance or anything. But they basically, they brought us into like a conference room, and there was probably 4 or 5 people that I had to present to, and we would just go in and out like one by one, each person. So you didn't get a chance to see the other people's presentations that's interviewing too. And so you walk out and people were thinking, hey, how'd it go? Like, you're like, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Are you interviewing for Houston? You are? Oh, well, there's only one spot, and I'm interviewing for that too. Which one are you interviewing? I mean, we're just kind of, trying to figure out who our competition is for these positions. And then got on a bus and drove back. I mean, it was an in and out trip in Atlanta, Georgia. But
that's funny. So last night I watched on Barstool. Have you seen, Gruden's going now and working with Barstool.
Yeah.
And he's starting to deal Gruden's Grinders. That's like his segment. And so they brought in like 20 different people to interview with him, but they filmed them all. So it's him and the Prez and another guy. And just watching people interview and watching how uncomfortable some people are, how some people just kill it. Some people have personality. Some people don't. Like, just being able to watch people interview is freaking hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I can only imagine back in those days. And
well, it's still the same today. I mean, I'm involved in interviewing some of the producers that we're bringing in, some out of college, some in their career. And I mean, as sorry as it sounds right now, we just want people that can communicate and hold a conversation. I mean, if you're able to do that,
the bar is low.
And network.
So I think this kind of leads into, okay, so you go, you interview, you know nothing, you end up getting the position, just, mainly because you're well-spoken, you can hold a conversation, and you have some intelligence. But now it's like you've gained so much knowledge over the 12 years, you've gained so much experience, so much success. What has led you in, the big turning points, the big lessons you've learned in those 12 years to get where you are now?
Yeah, so first off, I mean, networking is key. I mean, people need to know what pays your bills. People need to know what you do for a living. People need to know who your brand is. So if you're not out promoting yourself, if you're not passionate about yourself and what you do, I mean, you're going to fail yourself. So I would say that was a big turning point of just really marketing who you are. I mean, there's all these platforms now. I mean, talking about a podcast here. And you think about, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but you think about podcasts. I mean, we're talking about a pod of people, and broadcast, a broad span of people. It's switched.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody watches broadcasts anymore. Everyone watches podcasts. So, I mean, you've got this platform. You got all these platforms. Promote yourself. But the other part of it is I've listened to the employer side where people buy healthcare. I mean, the vast majority of Americans get good quality healthcare through their employer. And, the frustrations that the employers have of the rising cost of healthcare and passing on a lot of that to their employer or to their employees, their team members, and their team members not being able to afford it. That's kind of made a turning point of realigning my focus of, hey, what's really important here? What's really important here is bringing good quality healthcare that's affordable, that is aligned to get people healthier, not aligned to treat people. No. But aligned to actually cure people. So that's kind of where healthcare is going now, and that's been a lot of my passion, and we'll see if we can get there.
Speaking of that, healthcare is so expensive for the average person now.
Yeah.
Where do you see that going here in the future?
Continuing to go up. I mean, so you have 4 major insurance carriers that are in the market right now. You have Blue, United, Cigna, and Aetna. Aetna is actually owned by CVS Health, which is a pharmacy. So you can kind of, I mean, I met with Aetna actually this past week, and I kind of called them out. I was like, hey, are you incentivized for just writing prescriptions, or do you want to reduce healthcare costs? And they kind of laughed and like, no, we want to reduce healthcare costs. I'm like, okay, well, I'd hope that's what you would share with me. But when you have 4 major carriers, your company is going to be with one of them. You don't really have many options. So the average cost of healthcare right now for an employer is $15,000 per employee per year. Now they're gonna take some of that cost and pass it on to the employee and payroll deductions, and the employer will hold some of that too. But that cost continues to go up anywhere between 6 to 12, 15%, just depending upon a claims year and depending upon their funding arrangement being fully insured or self-funded. So you're gonna continue to see costs rise, but you'll also start to see different insurance programs and alternative solutions come into the market that employers are looking for. Now, it may be completely different than the Blue Cross Blue Shield stamp that you have, the Comfort card that you have, or the United Healthcare card that you have. But, that's what employers are looking for. They're like, hey, we can't afford this. Our team members can't even access healthcare because they have this high barrier of a deductible. Bring us something different. So, long-winded way of saying it's going to continue. Costs are going to continue to go up under the current model, but there'll be other models that will start to surface in.
Yeah, the deductible gets so high that people, unless it's something catastrophic, they don't really have insurance. Unless it's something huge, it's going to come out of their pocket because their deductible is so high to get a premium that's low enough they can afford.
That's exactly right. And then you've got people who. So I sit on Parkland's board. I sit on Parkland's Community Health Plan board, and for those that don't know who Parkland is, it's a hospital here in Dallas, Texas. They run a Medicaid program, and so I sit on their Medicaid portion of it. And it's alarming how many people who are on Medicaid or don't have health insurance, they just don't want to pay their bills. It's like they get a bill in the mail, like, yeah, just let that go. So where do you think that's getting subsidized?
No. Do you know the breakdown of insurance costs between doctor, admin?
It's hard to figure that out.
Because I got told the figure just last night by a doctor buddy of mine, and it seems ridiculous.
Yeah, go ask a doctor how much a procedure costs. They'll tell you we can't tell you that. They're like, I don't know. They're like, okay, I can ask a mechanic how much it's gonna cost for a transmission change or an oil change, but you can't tell me what it costs to do like a knee scope.
It all goes, who's paying?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Which is funny because in the car business, you couldn't, if you came in back in the day when we had the car dealerships and said, I'm not interested in finance, give me a good deal, I'm paying cash today. I legally can't give you a cash price.
I remember we talked about that. I was going to be like a secret shopper for you on a car.
And you're just like, but they can do whatever they want, when it comes to surgeries, procedures, whatever it is.
Yeah. There's a Transparency Act. There's the No Surprise Act. They're pushing for more cost transparency on it. And in Medicare and Medicaid, you have to be because you're taking in government funding. So we know the cost of healthcare. We know the cost of procedures. And there's arrangements out there that are called cost plus or reference-based pricing. And it's the right cost of paying for healthcare. It's just administered very poorly right now. And so when providers are willing to take cash, if I go to a provider and I say, hey, I need to get an MRI done, they're like, well, do you want to run it through your health insurance or do you want to pay cash? I'm like, well, how much is it through my health insurance? I'm like, well, it could be like $1,500. Like, all right, what if I just pay cash? I'm like, oh, well, we'll take $450 right now. You're like, that's more than half less. So
that's called a third.
Yeah. So they'll take cash because they get paid 100% of the time they get paid up front. Versus in the traditional model, it's, well, maybe I collect the portion that the member, the consumer of healthcare is needing to pay their deductible, copay, coinsurance, and then I got to bill Blue Cross, United, Cigna, Aetna, and then they're going to do what's called the maximum allowable charge. They're going to renegotiate, and I've got my preferred provider organization discount. And it could be 30, 90 days until the provider gets paid. So they'd rather take that cash up front.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Ryan. We got all these thousands of people watching. Can you give them any advice on what to do to come out a little better with their health care?
Oh, man. Well,
come to you.
Yeah. Just come to me because some of the things I'm going to say, they just go against the model. There's plenty of books out there. I'll give a quick shout out. There's a guy named Dr. Eric Bricker, great content guy. He started a company called Compass, and he's out here in Dallas, Texas. I've become very close with him. But, he'll tell you, don't ever pay the first bill. The first bill that comes in the mail, don't pay it. because most of the time it's your deductible, your co-insurance, your out-of-pocket maximum, the bill, all of those haven't been aligned yet. And once you pay a provider, I mean, it's very, very difficult to get that money back. So let some of those bills start to come in. I mean, heck, let them go to their accounts receivables. I mean, when we had our 2 kids, Crew and Case, I mean, I started getting bills from collection agencies. Well, then you come to find out that the collection agency is owned by the insurance company, and they just sell off those unpaid bills to just try and collect 30 cents on the dollar. So don't ever pay the first bill. Find like a health advocate, a concierge care type of arrangement where they can help negotiate your bills and make sure that everything is applied to your insurance correctly. And then, do everything you can to just stay out of the hospital. I mean, that's the easiest thing to not have to worry about healthcare bills. So
No, amen on that. Hey, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, they may need something. How would anybody get in contact with you?
So fortunately, I'm right now I'm the only Ryan Franza that I know of out here. So my last name is pretty unique. But you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Those are probably the easiest ways. I mean, I'm sure if they just direct messaged you and said, "Hey, Jordan Presley, I need to get hold of Ryan," you can get my contact.
Yeah, I think I got your number.
Leave it down in the comments, guys. If you want to get a hold of Franza, leave us a comment below, and we'll reach out and get you his contact information.
Yeah, that's good. All right, I got a question, kind of business wise now, success wise. You're a big success, Ryan. Do you recommend that people start? You hear all the time now, multiple streams of income, and I know you've done a bunch of stuff, but did you get your insurance business set, solid, rocking, and then start venturing out?
Man, the insurance business is never set, solid, rocking. I'll be honest. Like, there are days where, I mean, I can have a really, really good day, and there are days where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what, I need to go have a conversation with Brittany about this. This is not good. I mean, it's a very risk reward job. What you put into it is what you get out of it. And so, I look at it, multiple revenue streams. Yes, I'm a huge believer in that. But I also look at, I mean, do you prepare yourself financially before you have a child? Like, no. I mean, you just kind of get into it and you start to figure it out. And like, I don't know anything about parenting, and then next thing you know, you're Jordan. You've got 5 or 6 little hooligans. So
no owner's manual.
No owner's manual pop out. No, but I mean, I'm a huge believer in getting your money to work for what its purpose is. I mean, if it just sits in a checking or savings account, I mean, that's great for the bankers. It's not good for me. So I can make my earnings by doing my job. I can bank wealth by taking my earnings and investing it properly. And so, different strategies on that, a lot more in real estate than anything else. And that's partially because of the family that I'm in and some of the connections that I've made through that.
So I think the hardest thing for a lot of people is living within their means. So to get to the point where you say, you have an income coming in, that's great, that's paying the bills, but I'm putting aside a portion of that to start doing other stuff to gain wealth. Did you find it hard? Do you have any tips on, whenever you were late 20s going into your 30s, you start having kids, you have a wife, you had a beautiful home back when we used to live by each other. Now you even have a more beautiful home. How did you stay within the means to allow you to get to the portion where you have enough money to start putting it into other things?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that. I was literally thinking about vacations last night. And you take a vacation. I mean, the first vacation my wife and I ever took, still one of the most fun vacations we went on. We went on a cruise out of Galveston. I think both of us scraped up $500-$600 a piece for a week-long cruise vacation. Had a blast. But then it was, okay, well, we've done that. Now we got to do the next thing. And then you do the next thing, and you do the next thing. And you get to a point where in your vacation, same thing with life, you're like, well, how do I beat that one? Once you set the bar to a lifestyle or something that you're accustomed to, you don't ever want to go back to that $500 cruise. Nothing wrong with the cruise. We had a blast. And I'm sure if we did it again, we would really enjoy it as well. But, living within your means is something I'm constantly thinking about. More so of just, hey, do you really need that, or do you want that? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of wants that I have. There's very little needs that I truly need. And so just really kind of trying to stay focused on what's important for my family and my career and my wife, and making sacrifices too, because once you buy that new house, or once you get accustomed to going to that fine dining restaurant, you don't want to go to fast food and live in an apartment again. But if you have to,
no more ramen.
No. I mean, it's funny. They'll still that out there every now and then. I'm like, hey, we're going to be on the ramen noodle week just to reset some things. But no, I mean, my biggest advice would just be, really look at where do you want to be long term versus short term. I mean, the short term success of, hey, I want that car, or I want that new house, or I want to go have that $1,000 dinner or whatever. You look back on there, you're like, man, I really wish I didn't do that.
Well, I think what we tend to do is you get the raise, you go buy a nicer car, you get a promotion, you run buy a nicer house. Every time we start making a little more money, instead of taking that money and investing it, we take that money and spend. And what I've figured out, wealthy people invest, poor people spend, and you get into that spending habit, and you never live at a little bit below your means where you got money to put back.
Yeah. I mean, the guy that mentored me, his name's Kyle Moss. I mean, he's done very, very well for himself, but he's done even better taking money that he's earned and investing it. But he said something to me, and I've actually used this with some of the younger people coming into our into our career, in the healthcare career. He's like, oh, hey, you bought a house? Good. Get more in debt. You got a child? Perfect. Get more in debt, because you're indebted to me. you're indebted to this organization, to the big career that you aspire to be, that you have to have, because you're working your way out of it now. I mean, you're stuck. Versus, hey, you know what? I'm making some good money, and I'm going to go invest to basically have my time back, versus working my time for an income.
While we're on the trips segment of this podcast, Napa was a blast.
Oh man, that was so much fun. I still have a photo of us at that zoo. I don't know why we went to the zoo, but it was a good time. We go and
Y'all have little kids with you?
no, not at all.
This was before kids.
The little kids were me and Jordan.
Y'all just went to the zoo?
Yeah, we got sick of going to all these wineries. I mean, you drink so much wine, it all times tastes the same, that we decided to go pet giraffes and go through a little safari excursion.
Somehow I missed that. I didn't know y'all went. I know you went to Napa. I didn't know you went to the zoo.
I was not
though.
expecting that to come up at all whenever we sat down.
You
for this
started talking
podcast.
about trips, and I'm like, dude, that was so much fun. I remember I was sitting in the rent-a-car line, and I'm like, they got that GTR out there.
Yeah, let's talk about your rent car. Yeah.
let's get that GTR instead of the Corolla. So, in speaking on living within your means,
I was about to say, I got the Corolla.
that was so much fun, though.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Man, that was 2000. I think Brittany and I were married, so it would have been like, you had Grayson and I had Crew in 2017.
17.
So it was either right before or right after that.
But it wouldn't have been before, because Nikki wasn't pregnant.
No. Yeah, that would have been a bad trip for her to be pregnant on. Yeah.
Designated driver.
I guess it was 2018 or 19, something like that.
That was so much fun, though.
That was a good time.
All right, insurance. Then tell us what else you've got into. I know you've done some home building.
So home building, me out there with a hammer and nails and pouring concrete and stuff. I'm not doing that, that's for sure. But my father-in-law is a custom home builder, and he's been out in the Rockwell Heath area doing home building for, golly, I don't know, probably 30 years or so now. And so I've made some connections through him. We've done a few things together. Did a couple houses out in Caddo Mills, so a little bit further east from here, where I basically took the loan out in my name, invested a little bit of cash into the project. The builder and I, he built the house. We listed it together, sold it, split the profit 50-50, and then just kind of rolled it into another, just to kind of build some cash on the side. And then, the house that I'm in right now, my father-in-law built, and just want to put this disclaimer out there. My father-in-law is great. He is very frugal. He's very smart. and he made sure that he collected every dollar on that house. He just didn't make the cost plus, 10, 15%. He just paid his cost. So like the house wasn't given to me by any means at all. But yeah, I mean, the construction side of things and then understanding real estate, I mean, that's really where a lot of my investment has gone into.
What about the RV park? Tell us about the RV park. Tiny homes.
Yeah. So, oh man, we bought that land. We bought that land probably 2 years ago, two and a half years ago. And
how much land are we talking about?
About 30 acres.
30 acres.
So
okay.
30 acres in Mount Vernon, Texas, right off of I-30 and 37. So I-30 runs east and west, 37 runs north and south. And so we're literally a quarter mile off of I-30 on 37. So pretty much in the heart of Mount Vernon, Texas. Mount Vernon has one hotel. They have no apartments. The hotel is like a Super 8. It's probably been there since 1992. So not the most luxury of places to stay. But when you look at Mount Vernon, it sits between Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant has a population of 20,000. Sulphur Springs, right around the same. Mount Vernon, 2,000. So, I mean, it's prime for development. Big lake community. You've got Bob Sandlin, Lake Cypress, Lake Fork not too far, Lake Winsboro's not too far. I mean, so there's a lot of destination that's going there. So we saw this piece of property. Tim, my father-in-law, and Cindy, my mother-in-law, we talked about it and we're like, hey, do we want to do this? We're like, yeah, sure, let's buy it. And then it was, well, now that we have this land, what do we want to do with it? And the movement of people living in RVs and tiny homes for affordable living and not living outside your means, and then it's a huge boom there. And so we built a luxury RV and tiny home community. And
so did you have any idea that was what you were going to do when you bought it, or were you just buying it and going, okay, we'll figure something out later?
A little bit. A little bit. I remember when we bought the land. I'll never forget. I mean, I have like a memory of just different random little things. We were going to a funeral a viewing, and it was me, Brittany, my wife, my mother-in-law, and father-in-law. We were talking about an RV park, and it was like, do we really want to do that? I mean, the headaches of an RV park. I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems really risky. And at that time, we're like, okay, I guess we're not going to do an RV park. What else would we do? And then we kind of came back to it, and we're like, what if we did an RV park on the back side of the land and then left the front side of it that's up against 37 for commercial frontage? And that's what we ended up doing. So the RV park sits on about 23, 24 acres. And then we have another 5 or 6 of frontage for commercial building. We haven't done anything of the commercial yet. So working with the city, trying to figure out what they need to bring in, healthcare, gyms, entertainment. What else? What do you want on the frontage of here to help attract people into this community? So that's
are there tiny homes on it?
There are, yeah. So we've got.
And did you guys build them, or was it they would buy the land from you and build?
So with Tim being a home builder, we talked about building them, and then it was just, man, how many projects are we going to get ourselves into? I mean, we gotta balance this out. So Brittany actually found a couple tiny home manufacturers right around the area and started consulting with them, saying, hey, we would like to be a retail distributor of these tiny homes. How many do we need to buy in order to get that license? And so we were able to buy at a wholesale at 2 different tiny home manufacturers here in Texas. And so we literally buy them, have them shipped to our property. There's a little bit of a cost plus, but it's far less than if you're going to go to any of the other tiny home retailers. And then, I mean, it's turnkey. You can go sit down with Brittany and Cindy, my mother-in-law and my wife, and say, hey, this is the house that I'm interested in. This is the floor plan. I want this tile. I want this flooring. I want this backsplash. I want this amenities, appliances. So you custom build these tiny homes, and then they're delivered within 6 months, and we skirt them and get it all ready and move on in.
So are the folks, they're renting the land from you though, right?
They're renting land. So think of it the exact same way as an RV. I mean, you own your RV, you own your tiny home, you rent the land from us. The only difference is you're not hooking up your tiny home and driving it off to the next park. I mean, it's not considered a permanent structure because it's actually 399 square feet or less, And by doing that, you don't pay home taxes on it.
Is it on wheels?
It is on wheels.
So you could move it.
You could move it, but we take the wheels off the axle when we set it.
Oh, they can't steal it, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you would have to be calling us and we say, all right, yeah, we'll help you move it. We'll get the team out there to put the wheels back on the axle, get rid of the skirting, there's hurricane straps, or not hurricanes, but we don't have hurricanes in Dallas, but tornado straps.
Right.
And so, you'd have to unstrap that, but they're bolted down to concrete right now. So every one of them sits on a concrete pad the same way as your house sits on a slab. Except think of it as a parking lot versus your house on a slab.
Wow. So if any of our folks have been thinking about doing an RV type park, give them some thoughts. Is it a good deal? Is it a bad deal?
It's risk. It's risky, but like anything that y'all probably done, and Presley, you've done too. You kind of put yourself out there. I'm not a huge gambler. I like going to Vegas. But rolling dice or pulling cards, not my thing. But I'll bet on myself. If things go south, I'll just disappear for a few months.
Move into a tiny home.
Yeah, exactly. Somewhere that no one can find us for a little while. No, but the advice that I give you, we kind of shot by the hip. We bought the land, had a guy named Chad Crawford really help us out with dirt work. And he did some dirt work around here for Tim, and then it was, hey, this is a much bigger project. Like we need engineers and everything else. So you're like, no, we'll figure it out. We'll get heavier equipment out here to do dirt work. Everything that we did was literally, we had no idea what we're doing, and we're going to figure it out as we go. So if any advice that I would give you is pay a little bit of extra money up front, get it engineered, figure out exactly how you're going to lay everything out. It'll go a lot easier for you. But now that it's done, we finished construction about 4.5 months ago. So about mid-July is when we finally were done with getting construction people coming in and out and concrete trucks and everything else. And we're 65% occupied now. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
is there staff out there? Or is it just like
there is? So Chad Crawford, the dirt work guy who kind of started on this project, he just fell in love with Mount Vernon and he lives out there now. So he helps oversee the park 24/7. If there's times that he's out of town, Brittany is actually down there right now. Funny story about how she commutes down and back. I'll share that in a little bit. But Brittany will go down there once or twice a week, and then my in-laws have a lake house out there. The ranch that we have is not too far from there. So we're out there pretty often, but there is somebody that's there 24/7 that we've got a really good relationship with.
So if you were starting over, would you do it again?
Ask me that and within the next year, hopefully. Yeah, I think so. I think what's most important is finding the right real estate at the right price in a good community. So it wasn't that we just knew nothing about Mount Vernon, Texas, and saw 30 acres of land off the highway and like, let's buy that and build an RV park. We knew about the community. We knew what the area needed. I became really close with the city manager there. And so there was a lot of prep work before we just decided roll the dice and let's see if this works. It wasn't Field of Dreams. If we build it, they will come. A little bit of it was. Yeah, a little bit of it was. But no, I would say do your homework before you just go in there and put it all in black, because that's what we did there. So,
all right, if we've got some young ladies and gentlemen watching us, if you were starting, you had to start over. What profession, what industry, what would you do if you were starting out again right now, knowing what you know now, obviously, as a successful business guy?
I'd learn a trade, hands down. I'd learn trades.
This is interesting. Tell us more.
That is, you got to think about like plumbers, electricians, welders, HVAC. That's a dying breed. Framing, all that type of stuff. I've got a buddy of mine. His son was on the Cruise football team, so flag football team. We were We were undefeated in the regular season this year.
Dude, he looks like a stud.
We were defeated all last year. Didn't win a game last year, and then won pretty much every game this year except for the final. We're not going to talk about that.
Did you take over the coaching reins or what
No. But, shout out Blake Gunderson, assistant coach. I know my place when it comes to that. But no, his name's Patrick, and started talking to Patrick. And he was like, "Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with artificial intelligence and robots and this and that." And I mean, they're going to replace a lot, but you're going to have somebody that's going to oversee that. I mean, when you look at where things are going in software development and IT and AI, I'm not going to need somebody to do Excel spreadsheets, okay? But I am going to need somebody to come fix my pipe when it busts.
Yeah.
So, and then in doing the RV park, I mean, we relied heavily on the tradesmen to get things done. Building a house, you rely heavily on trade. And I just believe that that's a dying breed of people. And if you want to bet on yourself and have a residual earning, I mean, go learn plumbing, grind, and then build a business around that. And I mean, you could get people to paying on a membership for you to come by their house and change their air filters and checks their HVAC and make sure that when it gets cold, things don't freeze. I mean, a lot of people nowadays, when they're buying houses, they have no idea how to upkeep them.
So either get deep into AI and learn how to manage that, or go into the trades.
And maybe I know nothing what I'm talking about. You asked me what I would do if I could go back in time, just because I've been so around the construction side of things. I mean, yeah, that I would learn a trade. When I look at on the healthcare side of things and what I know as a broker, if I could go back in time, I mean, I would have started a startup, some sort of administrator or TPA, third-party administrator, really focused on pharmaceutical spend and paying cash. But I mean, that's because you can predict the future now going back in time, but learn something that is going to benefit you. I wish I would have done more of that self-development at a younger age than what I'm doing now.
What about branding young people now? I see, somebody that's into horses or into whatever. They learn something where they know how to train and ride and all that. If they would have started early branding themselves and getting their name out there and having that brand, I see in today's world that some young people could make some real money.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned Dude Perfect. I mean, those guys literally uploaded a photo of them shooting a basketball in their backyard, and look where they're at now. But what they did is they branded themselves. They marketed themselves really well. Now, are they great basketball players? I mean, I played rec ball with them. I have no idea what they're like now, but if they were great basketball players, they'd probably be playing professional basketball. But they're great content makers. They found an area to attract kids from the ages of, call it 3 to 15, 16 years old, and I know for a fact that if my child is watching it on YouTube or YouTube Kids, that the content's going to be clean. I mean, they branded themselves in that area. You talk about horse racing or anything else that you're passionate about doing. I mean, I asked all this equipment. I was like, Jordan, how in the world did you learn how to do all this? He was like, YouTube. So there's probably somebody that knows a lot about speakers and videography on YouTube, and they branded themselves as being the expert in there. So the platforms that we have now, looking back at it when I was in college, I thought, all right, YouTube, what is this? Facebook, what is this? This is ridiculous. I mean, it's neat to waste time on. Missed an opportunity there.
You should have jumped in with Dude Perfect.
I should have. I didn't know him that well. I wouldn't have been the perfect side of things. I've just been another dude. I'm not a good basketball player.
Now listen, I coached basketball for 16 years. They're not great basketball players. I mean, they're okay. But it ain't like they're going to make a living playing basketball.
No, they're not. But now this makes me think about it. Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your buddy from Dallas National. I mean, what he did with hitting golf shots over his house, and now you've got.
Did you see that, Dad?
No.
He did so at his new house. He did a hole-in-one challenge, and he's got a big green in his backyard. I mean, he's on acreage, so it's not like a normal neighborhood. but it's an all glass front to his house. And so he got on his driveway and sitting wedges over his house, and everybody's like, dude, I would skadoodle it right through the front glass.
Oh, yeah.
But it took him 16 days. He got a ball a day. So day 2, he hit 2. Day 3, he hit 3. And on day 15 or 16, he finally made it. So
The thing is he's
And I bet he had millions of people watching
that's
him.
exactly right.
millions.
And I mean, he is a content pusher. I mean, he's branded himself so well. I don't know Bryson personally, but 3 or 4 years ago, he was one of those hated golfers on tour. Now he's loved, and President Trump saying, "Hey, come hit golf balls over the White House."
Yeah.
What? So
How that changed quickly.
How it changed? I mean, how rebranding himself changed
dude,
real quickly.
Whenever Trump's his acceptance speech at Mar-a-Lago or wherever he was the night of the election,
Yeah.
and he's calling, "Where's Bryson? Get up here, Bryson!"
Right.
He's like, "What?"
I don't know. So, I mean, you think about, man, if Tiger Woods had social media in his back pocket whenever he was in his prime,
It would have been crazy.
it would have been crazy. So, I mean, yeah, there's a platform there to rebrand yourself and to, make money. If you want to.
Do you know anything about subscription models? What are your thoughts on that? Do you?
A little bit. I don't subscribe to anything. Actually, I take that back. I subscribe to like a fitness app that's got different workouts that I work out in my garage every morning. So I'm trying to find things to, different programs to follow. So I am familiar with it. I mean, you look at, hey, if I can reach 100,000 people on social media, and then I've got something that's $10 or $20 a month, and I can capture of those 100,000, 10% of them. I mean,
It's a lot of money.
a lot of money. That's a really good model. So again, back to if I could go back in time and learn something, a trade, and then get on social media and teach people how to fix your own house whenever a GFI busts. You don't need to call an electrician. You just need to push a little button. Or, hey, here's your breaker. I mean, it sounds so crazy, but there's simple stuff there. So, I mean, yeah, there's subscription services. Absolutely, there's a market for that.
Yeah, take this time. Let the people know. What do we have to offer coming up?
You talking about a subscription service?
The most exciting
what a
thing since
segue.
sliced bread.
What a segue.
You set that up perfectly.
I know it. Did I not do a good job there?
100%.
Guys, we've been doing the TikTok lives where I want to thank you. We've got, I don't know, close to 210,000 followers there. And obviously thank you guys on YouTube. Our podcast is pushing 21,000 subscribers. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully you're getting value out of this. But we're going to launch here in the next 3 or 4 weeks Residual Earners University. And it's going to have all kinds of content on personal growth and budgets and how to make money in different areas. And the part that I'm really geeked up about is we're going to have a community where we can collaborate and bounce ideas off each other, and get people that we can work with. Jordan and I are going to be doing Zooms with you where you can ask us questions, and I'm pumped up. We got a team working on it. As a matter of fact, when we finish this podcast, we're going to start doing some filming for the university. So anyway, be on the lookout. Residual Earners University. You want to add anything to that?
No, guys, we've been working on it for a few months now. I've seen the course. It's come such a long way. The structure is there. Like Presley said, the community is going to be phenomenal. Being able to have accountability partners, somebody to bounce ideas off of. We're going to be very active in that community, doing Zooms and other things. It's really going to be a special place to, get better, grow as a person, and achieve more of the things you've been wanting to achieve your whole lifetime. This is a great platform to get on there and start working towards that.
I just had a brainstorm. We can have an insurance module,
yeah.
And Ryan Franza.
God.
Sign me up.
We're taking up a lot of his time.
I do have a 10:30 now. No, I'd love to be a part of that with y'all.
Oh my gosh, that just hit me. We can have an insurance segment.
It's the one thing that everybody has to have that nobody wants to use. You're at your most vulnerable state using your health insurance, and so if there's any way that I can help people out, I'm absolutely open for that.
Hey, give them your how to get a hold of you again.
So, I mean, like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier. I believe if you find another Ryan Franza, please let me know.
Also, leave in the comments.
Yeah, leave in the comments if there's another one out there. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. If you search me, I'm there.
Ryan Franza, Franza.
It sounds like I need to do a better job of my branding.
Yeah.
So I'll figure that
We
out.
were just talking about branding. Come on, baby.
I know.
We'll send you the podcast link.
Actually, what I'll do, I'll subscribe to your subscription service. Be your first
Actually, we did a podcast 2 weeks ago on branding.
I'll go back and watch that.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch the branding podcast.
I'm going to give you one thing because, as you know, we're hot and heavy into the roofing space now with Calgary Roofing and Restoration.
So tell me, how much hail does Calgary get?
A ton.
Really?
60,000 homes hit. It'll be the biggest. It's billions.
Very nice.
This year. But I'm going to show you this logo because
And Jordan's wanting a big chunk of those billions.
Yeah, Jordan, the trade man over here. doing roofs,
You were
yeah.
talking about trades, and now he's into roofing.
okay, so this is just the main logo on the left, and then it's broken up into two ways on the right side and middle. It's the same logo. You can just see it on a light and dark background. But
Are you sure about this?
I'm stoked about this.
Let's see it. Oh, wow.
So do you recognize his hat? That's the Calgary Tower.
Yeah. I
So
see
that
now.
just like ties everything in.
Well, you asked me if I recognize it. I do, but I mean, I'm a diehard American, so. But yeah, I mean, I do like the little superhero. Was it C for Calgary and roofing and restoration?
That's a memorable logo.
Can you get that suit and like?
Oh, it's going to be a full suit. Yeah, we'll do like home and garden shows, other stuff, and we'll have like the mascot himself. His name's Flame. For the
Flame.
Calgary Flames. Yeah,
Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Is he going to pass out dome foam? Because I do remember that.
You know, Jordan took your advice before you even said it. He got into trades, kind of.
His thing was learn the trade first, be able to do the trade, and then build a business around it.
I also mentioned networking. That's how you got in there. So,
You know, speaking of that, we'll end up with this, but how important is it for everybody to get out and get to know people? Because I know, I'm older than you guys, that it's more who you know than what you know.
oh, for sure.
So talk about that real quick to everybody that's watching, and then we'll put a bow on this thing.
I would not be where I was at, where I'm at today, if it wasn't for networking and just getting out there. I mean, you think back, you asked me, how did I get into healthcare? I was like, I could have sat at home at my apartment in College Station when the roads were icy and just missed out on sneaking into a business fair because I knew there's going to be no one at the business, no students going to try and get there. So they're going to be like, please just come on in. We need students here. Like we got all these people here. So yeah, I mean, get out, network, talk to people. It's the most valuable thing that you can do for yourself, especially in an age now where everything is communicated through an iPhone. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I talk about this with our team, like email is for documenting. It's not for getting work done. Pick up the phone, get work done, go meet with people, get the work done, and then document what was completed. You lose that human interaction, out of sight, out of mind. I mean, there's every self-growth book, there's little tidbits in there, but the vast majority of them talk about networking. So, I mean, it's hugely important. And if you're not comfortable with getting in front of people, come on a podcast. I can't wait to watch myself. I'm sure this is going to be great.
Well, no, people want to do business with people.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is a human doing business with a human, not human doing business with a company. And if you can get that relationship going, I'm telling you, it is head and shoulders. Now, Jordan, you're a master at this because you're always meeting people. Put your 2 cents in, especially with Dallas National. How it's helped
he's
you.
the same as me. Golf is like the door to networking, and if you're a good golfer and can hit the ball a long ways,
Mine's pretty bad right now.
I don't even want to hear it. I haven't played since September.
Well, you'd move to Canada.
No, makes sense. No, I hear you.
Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But you know it as well as I do. If you can hit the ball a long way and you're a decent golfer, like dudes just want to talk to you. and want to talk you up, and they just love you. So through golf has been the easiest way to network. And luckily, just the courses that we're lucky to play at a lot of times, some nice places that you meet some quality individuals that have become successful, and then they like you and they want to help you. And you've met Bruce. Have you met Bruce before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bruce. So Bruce was my connection into the roofing business, and he came up for the member guests up in Calgary, went and drove the streets to look and say, if you want to get into something, because obviously once I moved up there, I wasn't doing as much, and he's like, this is your time if you want to do it. And I'm like, I'm in. You tell me how to do it, I'm in. So it's just through networking, doors open, I think is it helps you open doors, whether it's connections to help you in the business you're in, whether it's new connections to get into a different type business. It's just, doors open through networking.
No, it does. I can honestly say I got into real estate because I was running with a guy named Max Fincher who was making money in real estate. So I decided if he was making money, I could make money. And then we got in the car business because a guy named Jim Campbell was making millions of dollars in the car business, and then got in the printed circuit board business. And then now, Jordan and I have actually looked at the roofing. I mean, he got into roofing because he was with a guy in the roofing business. And we looked at laundromats recently because a buddy of mine is making money in laundromats. And I don't know that we're going to get in the laundromat business, but maybe.
You should, by the way. We've got one at the RV park, and
it's doing good.
A lot of quarters.
A lot of quarters. Yeah. But anyway, and Demetric started the laundromat business, and I started asking him questions, and I drove over an hour to go to be at his grand opening, and then I come back and I YouTubed how to start a laundromat, and I know a whole lot about laundromats and don't even own one, but it's just the whole point with that. It's who you run with, guys. If you start running with winners, people that are going somewhere, people that motivate, uplift, and inspire you, I'm telling you, you'll start getting ideas on how to make money. And I mean, that's why we have guys like Ryan on here, talking about insurance and RV parks and building houses and all the stuff, that you just get around people that are doing something with their life, and good things will happen.
I think and the last thing I want to talk about, Ryan, before we let you get out of here, is just so many people are scared to get going. Like let's say with the RV park, obviously to get into insurance, there was no upfront cost for you to get going, but then you had to work your butt off to become successful to make enough money to start doing other stuff. But whenever you talk about getting into the RV space and tiny homes, and you got to purchase the land, and you mentioned betting on yourself. It's like, how do people get over that scared to just get going mentality and actually, take the first step and just get moving? Yeah.
I mean, the RV park wasn't the first investment that I made. It's just been the most recent one that is big. And again, it's me and my in-laws. So we're 50-50 in on it. So we both betting on ourselves. But I would say, I mean, you're never prepared. Like, you're never going to prepare yourself enough to then take that leap. No. So just go, put your toe in the water a little bit. Just, take a little step at a time. Don't just go throw it all at one thing and then just, go all in and hope for the best. I mean, if you know enough about it, then and you've done the prep work, then yeah, absolutely. But sitting on the sidelines and waiting for the right opportunity at the right time you're constantly going to miss the right opportunity at the right time.
You'll always be on the sideline.
You always will be on the sideline. Yep. You always will.
There's a myth that there's a perfect time. There's never a perfect time.
Nope.
Never a perfect time. I say all the time on our TikTok is that, I can read a book on riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
But until I get my butt on that bicycle and start pedaling, I ain't ever going to really learn how to ride the bicycle.
So we've got so I work with Marsh & McLennan Agency in the Dallas office, but when you look across our region, there's probably 60, 70 unvalidated producers. So producers that are new into the organization, new into the business, that don't have enough clients to validate their income. And some of them cold calls, some of them network, some of them LinkedIn, some of them don't do anything. And the ones that are successful, it's like, well, I made the call at the right time. It's like, no, you just made the call, or you just were at the right place at the right time. But it wasn't that you were there at the right time. It was just that it was there. You just showed up, and then you networked. So, just get out there, and do it.
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
You make your own luck.
Yeah. It's like, do it.
Definitely.
Do it.
That's it. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in today for another episode 48. We are almost to the year mark.
Almost.
which is awesome, and have had some amazing guests on here, and happy to have Ryan on here. And thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, everybody, leave a comment down below, topics you want to hear, things you want us to talk about. Comment about how great Ryan was on here today, or if you want to get a hold of him. And then obviously, guys, hit that like button, hit the little bell so you get notified when we do drop a podcast, and make sure and subscribe to the channel. And we will see everybody next week for episode 49.
Love you.
Love you too. Thank y'all.
Goodbye.